Welcome back to the podcast over Brighthaven.
I love that.
Yes, I wish I had been saying it that entire time. Going forward, I will be coming up with something creative like that.
That's fun.
Books over Brighthaven.
Well, we can't rip off the title of an existing book for our podcast that's not going to be 100% about that book.
This episode is, though.
Sure
Okay, alright, yeah.
Welcome back to Books over Brighthaven. I'm one of your hosts, John. That's Ann. That's Dan. I don't know if that's actually going to line up at all, but we love it.
A little bit.
We can fix in editing.
We can fix this in post.
Yeah.
We're not that good at editing. Well, Ann might be, but I'm not.
I could be, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
I understand.
So we're going to kick it off with a non-spoiler talk about the book, right? Just kind of keep this spoiler-free for any of our viewers. Want to check in and see if this book is worth picking up?
Yeah, I think that's a good place to start. So I liked this book mostly, and then I didn't like this book. I had a good time till I stopped having a good time. Would I recommend this book to a friend? It depends on the friend, but yes, I would probably recommend this book to a friend. Would I reread this book? I would not reread this book. What do you guys think?
Similar feelings. I thought it had a very strong beginning, thought it had a pretty good middle, and I wasn't a huge fan at the end. But endings are hard. I thought it was really well written. I was really enjoying that aspect of the book, the sentence, the paragraph, just the ebb and flow of it all. I really liked it. This was my first dark academia novel. I had to Google to make sure this was technically dark academia, and it is. Probably not my genre, is what I'm kind of gathering from this book. So, would I recommend it to a friend? Knowing my friends? No. But it's not because of the book. It's because my friends like Red Rising and DCC and all those would, vibe with them. I would also not reread this book, but I don't reread a lot of books.
I'm the same way. I don't reread a ton of books. I probably wouldn't reread this one. I did like it, and I agree that I think it was well written. I thought it was a very thoughtful book, and it introduced / discussed a lot of philosophical questions that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that aspect. I would recommend it to a friend in a very specific circumstance, but that's usually how all of my recommendations come. I very rarely recommend a book broadly to anybody.
If someone asked me, should I read Blood over Brighthaven? I would say, yeah.
I would too. If it was already on their list, I'd be like, yeah, I'd be like, it's well written.
I think it's worth reading.
I might not. It depends on what the friend is looking to get out of it. Like I said, I like to tailor my recommendations.
I don't tailor recommendations.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I know.
This is what I like.
Yeah.
I bet you'll like it too. I guess we didn't even talk about what the book's about, spoiler free, so I'll just go into that really quickly. Sciona is a researcher, but then she takes the Archmage test, and this isn't really a spoiler because it happens in the second chapter. She passes, she becomes an Archmage, and then her and her Quinn, who is the under race class of the city of Tiran, start digging into how to expand the magic shield wall over the city that protects it from the harsh tundra and the blight, which is lightning that eats people and living things. And they want to learn what's it all about. That is my book blurb.
One thing that I would put an addendum to is that I would not consider this book dark academia. As someone who's read a good amount of dark academia, sort of against my will, I would not consider this book dark academia because dark academia is very much based around aesthetics. It's like Oxford, Cambridge, students who dress in academic clothes and do academic-y things. And this book, I would say, has a lot more meat to it and not really those particular themes. Also, being very fantasy, I would say, precludes it from being considered dark academia, to me at least. I mean, I know Babel is big dark academia, but that's not really fantasy to me either. So
is that the one where they go to hell?
Nope.
No.
Oh.
That's Catabasis.
Catabasis. Yeah. I get them confused.
That's dark academia for sure.
Babel is takes place at Oxford.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I just Googled what the genre was, and it just says dark academia fantasy. But I don't read this genre, so I don't know what the.
What is academic clothing, Anne?
It's sweater vests and white
sweater vests,
button-ups, and
a white button-up.
Obviously Oxfords and slacks and just professional clothing that's kind of dark.
And I know I've told you this a bunch, but I went to public school. What are Oxfords?
It's a kind of shoe. It's a kind of fancy
okay.
shoe. Yeah.
Oh my god! I legitimately thought Oxfords were Oxford students.
No.
That's just how they're called. Oh, look at this pack of Oxfords walking by.
I wonder if
they're all holding their books and clothes.
Yeah, but I wonder
wearing their plaid sweater vests and their white button-up shirts.
Yeah, I wonder if they're called Oxfords because people at Oxford wear them.
How Oxford?
Oh, the origin is unclear. 2 origins have been suggested. First, that the Oxford shoes originated from students at Oxford University who wore knee-high boots that were trimmed down to create medium-sized boots. A second suggestion is that they were popularized by Prince Albert, who resided in Balmoral Castle and are so named after his home, which is Oxford. So, yeah.
The more you know.
The more you know.
Yeah, I would say the book is almost more introspective. It really gets into religion, philosophy, and the intent of your morals is kind of the main themes of the book.
And power dynamics.
Power dynamics too. Yep, which it does really well. I think it's probably one of the stronger aspects of the book. You can see our video from 2 weeks ago when we had that hour-long session because we got into the whole religion of the story. We had a huge discussion about the morals of the story because it was that engaging.
The writing is also just technically very fun. It's just very technically well written. You can tell the author put a lot of time, effort, and it is just a good book. But I have problems with how it went. Now, we're going into the spoiler zone. Full spoilers. So, if you have not been following this series, that's totally fine. But Anne is going to go over what happened in the last 3 chapters specifically, because she is the only one who...
baby. We're getting into it.
Pull up your Oxfords, put on your white shirt, and wear your sweater vest, because we're about to get dark academic.
No, we're not. I just said that. I just said that I wouldn't classify this as dark academia. It's steampunky. The whole vibe is honestly super steampunky, but it's fine.
It's not steampunky.
They spent a lot of time
steampunky
doing research stuff in a class.
It's magic.
Yeah, whatever. Steampunk can be magic-y. Okay. And all right, so recap. They make it to Brigham's mansion. There are some Quen inside who are not rioting. Duris, their driver, leaves. Brigham and Sciona have a confrontational conversation. The gates of the mansion fall. Brigham goes out to murder Quen to protect Sciona. Sciona attacks him to force him to show his true self and then gets knocked out. Duris comes to pick them up and brings them to Siona's trial. The streets are quiet now. In the hall, Sciona addresses Paramus's father to be petty. They proceed to conduct her trial, conviction, and execution. Right after she drinks the poison that will kill her, Tommel activates her backup plan spell that siphons from all the maid seats in the hall. #violence, #war crimes. We flash back to Tommel refusing to activate this Hail Mary spell for Sciona. She confesses, he rejects her, but then changes his mind. They kiss, whatever. Tommel and Kara talk.
So romance.
Tommel and Kara talk, and Tommel leaves the decision about whether to activate the spell to Kara, who wants to murder, of course. Sciona dies happy. Tommel and Kara start heading out to escape the city, but Renthorn and Mordra show up. Kara disappears with the spellgraph. Renthorn goes to torture Tommel into telling him where the spellgraph is, but Kara brains him before he does it. They keep on making their escape and get caught by the guards, but the other Quen save them. Everyone together exits the barrier.
Did you say that Kara and Tommel spare Mordred the 10th?
No, I forgot about that.
It's a big full circle moment of Tommel being like, no, we're going to let this guy live because he's just kind of too dumb to figure out that he was killing people. Mm-hmm. So maybe he can do it better.
Yeah, I guess.
I was just saying that's what happened.
No, I know. That's a good point. But I'm just like, I guess. I don't know. I think it was just a little too bleak for me, especially for something that draws from so many real life stories of oppression and war crimes. I think the conclusion that it comes to is just not good enough for me personally.
Sure. I mean, Look, I didn't like how it ended for a lot of reasons. I didn't like that Renthorn just was like, I'm going to be sneaky and sneak out of where I know that Sciona is going to murder all the high archmages or whatever. I'm not going to tell anyone. so I can be the supreme archmage, and I'm gonna create my own cult and be the new prophet Leon essentially, and then just gets dunked on in the first 5 minutes. Like that just it felt like
Yeah.
a waste to me.
The ending felt both a little too long and a little too rushed in different places for me. I think some of the conversations in the mansion probably could have like cut like 6 paragraphs. I think the point was made, and then it kept going. I was like, okay, like I was like, we can kind of get through this scene. Like this is point's been made. He's a bad person. He's crazy.
He's using Sciona to protect his legacy.
Yeah,
We get it.
we're all following. I think the ending suffers from the fact that this is a standalone. So I think there's a really cool world here, and there's more to explore, and there's more time to let some of these pieces fall in a little bit cleaner. I think that would have been really interesting. This could have been a duology. Is kind of what I pictured the perfect length for it. Because I think all of us were kind of feeling this in the last video, where like there's 60 pages left, and there was a lot to happen, and we're all kind of seeing the flags raise up. So yeah, I think that being constrained to a standalone is probably what made the ending a little bit of a rough landing for the three of us.
I agree. I was just kind of bummed that, well, I didn't want Sciona to die. I thought a better arc for her would have been to continue to make life better for everyone else. I think penance, or whatever you want to say that she can be doing, is better done when the person is alive and can make up for their mistakes. And instead, they just had her just kill everybody while killing herself simultaneously.
Yeah, I definitely agree. That's one of my least favorite tropes, is being like, here's a person who's done all of this stuff wrong. Now they're going to kill themselves to be the ultimate sacrifice to make up for what they've done. And I'm just like, no, especially when it's somebody who's made mistakes and done bad things. Have them live to own that. You know, like I think it sets a bad precedent. And it just feels lazy to me. I also absolutely agree with what Dan said about how this great world, very interesting, definitely suffered from being constrained to a standalone. I would have loved to learn more about everything going on in the world. I would have loved to see how things played out. I would have loved maybe like a slower ending, honestly, where they did more things that were broader in scope rather than just like show everybody what's up and kill all the mages. It just didn't feel very nuanced in a story where it felt like nuance was an important feature they were trying to emphasize with like all of the philosophical questions.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just disappointed how the book ended, to be honest. I was really high on this book at first. I thought it raised
fantastic.
Yeah, it raised a lot of fun questions. It raised a lot of fun debates for us, you know, about where the book was going and what the book meant and what it could or couldn't have turned into. I was hoping Sciona would leave with the Quen and go explore what other kinds of ways to use magic there were. Yeah, or if there's other societies using the magic differently.
That was my biggest question about the whole book, which I can't stand a lot. I didn't think they were going to get into it. I was just wondering what else was out there. Like, this is a huge world. Is Tiran the only one that has this magic? Are they the only ones who know about it? Are they the only ones shielded from the blight? Why aren't they using coordinates to just like find the rest of the world? Like, how big is it? Those are all questions that I had, but I come from epic fantasy background. I'm used to sprawling worlds and being able to name all the cultures and places. So that was a little out of my comfort zone here with like the one standalone, the one city, and basically just like the two cultures. I will say one thing I really liked about the ending to kind of give it a positive is I liked how it mirrors the beginning really well. Sciona going in, you know, to take her exam at the start. She was very nervous before all her heroes. At the end, she was brimming with confidence, and she was going to do the sacrifice. And then same with Tommel, running into safety with Gara into Tiran, ending with him running into safety out of Tiran. So the mirrored endings into the beginning, I liked that part. Really well done.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. But that's a very nice full circle. I do like that. I wish that it had felt more satisfying.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like in and of itself and not as part of a full circle. As part of a full circle, very satisfying. In and of itself, not as much, I would say.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I wish there was one conversation with like Siona's family. I was waiting for like something with the cousin.
Yeah.
It's like something, and there was just nothing. I was like, oh. It's like, okay.
That bummed me out. It's like, oh, okay, that's just it. Okay. And then Sciona died. I was like, all right, well.
Yeah. It felt like it set up so many interesting things. It felt like it had this whole web of the world and the culture and like the plot and things that were happening. Enough of a web that we could kind of read in between the lines and go like, oh, are these interesting things happening, or are these interesting things happening? But there's just not enough time and space to actually dig into that. And then with the ending, it just didn't really stick. And then like all of these threads get lost along the way because there's just not enough time to pick them up and bring them to a comfortable resolution.
I agree with that. I left the book feeling unsatisfied, and I don't know if I can put my finger on what exact scene left me unsatisfied. I'm a very vibes-based person, and I mean, at the beginning of this, I was excited to read the next page, the next chapter. I was like, come on, we gotta move up book club this week. Come on, guys. We gotta go 6 weeks, not 7 weeks. Let's go. And then at the end, I was just kind of like, well, that was fine. I mean, the first half of the book got me. I was in. I was locked in. I was like, this is great. I might have a new like top author to start recommending out to people. And then by the end, I was like, nah, it was fine.
Yeah, like it was okay. It was good. It was decent. Like I don't regret reading it, especially because it paralleled the book that I was also reading at the time, Jesus and John Wayne. I've mentioned it before because of like all the real life parallels that Blood Over Brighthaven had. But at the end of Blood Over Brighthaven, I was kind of just like, if you weren't really going to say anything that is really applicable to all the real life parallels that you had, what was the point, I guess? I was basically just like, I think instead of recommending Blood Over Brighthaven, I would be like, if you care about the themes in Blood Over Brighthaven, you should just read Jesus and John Wayne. Or just more historical nonfiction in general.
Well, I think the good thing about fiction is it helps you think about moral dilemmas without it being real.
I understand that that is a good avenue to help cushion those kinds of things. And I did also just watch this show about like how important stories are and how like lies can hold truth because of how they are meaningful and real because they come from our emotions and they speak to our emotions. But I think that I also believe that people sometimes should just confront reality. Sorry, I'm in my nonfiction era. So I'm just like, come on, get on it.
So I actually don't think that it necessarily cushions it, but I think it helps people approach it from a different angle.
I agree with that.
Like,
yeah.
I think
that's how I would think of it.
I think fiction gives a lot of people a lot of different ways to think about certain problem sets. I mean, this whole book in general, right? Like, if you gave it to someone without telling them what it's about, they might change their mind on sociopolitical issues and be like, oh, you know what? Like, that relates to this, and I actually don't agree with how this happened.
Yeah. You know what books I think do a better job of that? Dungeon Crawler Carl, baby!
Oh. Dungeon Crawler Carl is great.
Yes, 100%.
That's a fantastic book, yeah.
So
that's
good.
What I universally recommend.
So good. Yep, that's one I've been universally recommending too. Yeah. I've got like 4 people who are live reacting their Dungeon Crawler Carl thoughts to me, and I'm just like, yes, feed me.
I've gotten my whole building at work reading that book. I've got probably over 100 people reading that book. At this point, Maddie Dimes owes me royalties.
Literally, I was just going to say.
Maybe at least like a signed copy of a book or something.
Well, I already have 3 signed copies of the
book. There's 7. You're down.
I know. We found it right before it got insanely popular. So it was super easy to get books signed, and now it's just mobbed. He sells out so far in advance.
Tough. All right, but this is not about Dungeon Crawler Carl.
This is about Books Over Brighthaven.
Blood Over Bright Books.
Which I think, okay, to be fair, I do think that it wasn't completely out of pocket. Like, some books I read and the ending is so bad, I'm just like, I regret reading the whole book. This one, I feel like it still made sense. I think I'm a little bit biased against it because I was hoping for something a little more hopeful. I mean, I know that the nature of the issues here are devastatingly bleak. War crimes, horror, etc. but I do think the author still did a good job with bringing things to a natural conclusion. Even if it was one that I disagree with from a storytelling point and also a personal preference point, I think it was still done in a way that makes sense and is thematically cohesive with the rest of the book.
I think the reason why I think it's just, and I don't think it's a bad book. I think it's fine. I don't regret reading it. I very rarely regret reading a book, and I still think it's a good book. Like if I was into number systems, it's probably like a 3.5 stars.
That's actually what I was thinking.
Out of 5, right? Like it's better than average, and especially the technical writing. I think the reason why I'm not as high on it as I used to be is because it felt like it built up so much that I was so excited for it, and the ending didn't land with me. Right. And so I think I was just disappointed that the ending didn't land with me after I was so high on this book. It's what kills me with a lot of things. If we're going to bring it back to Dungeon Crawler Carl, I was having this conversation today where I loved books 1 through 5 so much that 6 just didn't hit for me. And I liked 7 a lot too. 7 was right back up there, but I thought 6 was a step back from 5.
I agree with everything you
said.
I
also actually agree with that.
So I think how good she wrote in the beginning of this book and how good the story was moving in the beginning of this book ruined the end of the book for me.
I think for me, and this comes down to the genre, it's just not my genre. I love fantasy books. I love the escapism because I don't want to confront reality. I work my 9 to 5, and at the end of the day, I don't love getting lost in a book where it's like just like too on the nose about like the social injustices, the misogyny. I thought was crazy, and I know the whole time me and Anne we were saying that we were hoping just like an in-world reason, like just maybe there's something here, and it was just misogyny because like that's what happens in real world, and it's a shitty thing, and that sucks, and like there was no other reason for it. So I think besides like the magic had me hooked a little bit, especially with the blight, but that's like not what the story's about. It's not about the blight, not about the magic. It's really just about those themes of social injustices and, you know, kind of dealing with that. And I'm like, I see that enough in like my own reality that when I read my fantasy books, like I don't mind like confronting those problems in like unique, fun ways. Can you say fun about social injustices? I don't know. Maybe you can. DCC does it and it's fun. But yeah, I just like, I didn't feel any of that escapeness with this. I was just reading this. I was like, okay, like, these are all good points. Some really good discussions. But especially after probably the halfway mark, maybe like a third of the way mark, there was a point where I started realizing this is what every section is going to be about, some more hammering home these points. I wasn't like, you know, dying to read the next chapter. I was kind of like, okay, I'm like, this world sucks. Everything's going to continue to suck for Tommel. Sciona was unlikable in a good way, like written really well as an unlikable protagonist. But like I wasn't rooting for her at any point in the story. I was like, all right, maybe a little bit towards the end, but at that point, I was like, I just spent, 300 pages with you, and you're like objectively were horrible, Tommel, for a lot of this book. So I don't know, go blight yourself, I guess, and I'm not gonna shed a tear over it.
Yeah. I am happy that there was murder at the end with the mages all getting blighted. I liked that. I was manifesting that, and I'm glad I got it, and I'm glad Kara got it, and, peace, I guess. Peace out to all those mages. Get blighted, idiots.
Get blighted.
Get blighted. Yeah, I had a good time for most of the book, and then I didn't. That is my thoughts. Do you guys have anything else?
Nothing.
All right.
That's
so
pretty much it for me.
The next book that we are reading is...
What is it? Dissect?
Why did you roll that up? I thought you were so confident and you had nothing. Hold on, I'll pull it up right now.
I was hoping one of you was...
The next book we are reading is Dissolution by Nicholas Binge.
I knew that it was a book... I'm doing my best, guys. I'm running on less than fumes here. We're going to get real. My daughter is not sleeping right now. And that means I'm not sleeping.
You just hyped it up so much to fall flat, just like the ending of this book.
Full circle, guys.
This is my mirror moment.
Just to hang on Disillusionment for a minute. Have you guys heard of this book? We just voted on it in our book club.
Nope.
Okay, I've never heard of it either. It was like sold out in like 2 of the bookstores we checked out.
Wow. Yeah, but I don't keep up with book news though. I have a billion books on my to-read list and I try to go through those, and if somebody brings something up to me, I'll check it out, but I do not keep up with popular new books.
This sounds so hipster of me, but it seems like a little bit too mainstream for me. I know how hipster that sounds, but if the Birkenstock fits, wear it, right? I really was hoping it was going to be Discovery, but I obviously lost. So that's where I'm at.
I'm excited for the switch in genre. I forget what the Discovery was.
Oh, it's a old, kind of failed television host finds a lost city of aliens underwater.
Oh, I was really interested in that one, actually.
Oh,
and he turns it into like a reality TV show or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that sounded fun. Yeah, I know. I never wanted mine too. I threw it there. I was like, I'm just going to pick something fun because I didn't want to have something that was crazy. There is one book I'm going to recommend. I must say the name wrong. China Neville. I think they did The Scar is the one I was going to recommend. It's about like pirates on these like floating cities.
I like pirates and I like floating cities.
They're a big author. I just don't know what else they wrote.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote the book with Keanu Reeves, I think.
Yes. Not City of Stairs, that's Robert Bennett. But they've been on my list as like a want to read author with a few books that they have.
All right, everybody.
If this is... No, it's not. Never mind.
You can't just leave me hanging like that. What are you talking?
One of my other book friends was talking to me about this book that was like reverse misogyny, where it's like a matriarchal society and they're pirates and there's like some crazy war crimes going on in there, and it's like matriarchal society but the books are still misogynist, and I was wondering like, oh, is it that one? But it's not. So
okay. All right, everybody. Now that we've gone through so much together with Books Over Brighthaven podcast to Blood Over Brighthaven, Blood Over Red Books.
Go to bed, John.
I'm vibing. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.